Box to box overlap, and New Zealand have just beaten African boys Namibia 71-3. And guys, the game was not even close. It started off by Namibia missing touch and then New Zealand just coming after them, phase after phase, 9 phases scored right like immediately after 9 phases. And I think that's something that New Zealand coach Ian Foster had to put into the team. Like, you guys, we need to bounce back after the defeat to France, which was New Zealand's first defeat ever in the World Cup in a group game. So I think they bounced back well, considering the conditions early on. It started raining. To put up 38 points in the rain, like that was impressive. The thing that was really a big blemish in this entire game was the injury to Leroux Malan, the center. Literally, his leg was like this, like that's tibia fibula gone. Yeah, so sad to see him get injured, but it was good to see everyone clapping for him, like helping him, like just trying to make sure he's fine. Cause hey, that was nasty. That was nasty. And those are some. That's the worst time. So anytime an injury like that happens, you always look at like the next few phases. People playing, you become a bit tentative, and maybe after the first 2-3 hits, then you just switch back on. Yeah. So yeah, it was sad to see, but yeah, we wish him a good rehab, because that's going to be a long one. Anyway, yeah, going back to the game, New Zealand had 733 meters carried to Namibia's 217. Like, that wasn't even close. One thing I realized early on about both teams is that at first it was Namibia, and I was like, Namibia letting Leicester Fainga Nuku just run through them. But the All Blacks also started missing tackles, and they, with their tackle success rate of 81%, they missed 11 tackles in the entire game. I can tell you 5 or 6 of those came in the first like 10 minutes, because no one was actually, the shoulders were not connecting. Whereas for Namibia, for missing 43 tackles against the All Blacks, that's just a recipe for disaster. They had moments where they target the All Blacks in the mole as well. It didn't lead to anything. One thing that the All Blacks can get from that is, like, it was great mole defense from them. They actually won a few scrums. Like, Roigard's second try came off just them dominating the scrum, yeah. And speaking of Roigard, who was man of the match, as a Chiefs fan, I always thought that Brad Weber deserved to be in this squad. Like, Brad Weber, he's been part of the setup. He knows it, like, it's in and out. He really fought to get there when the likes of TJ Perenara was still around, but Roigard just brings something different, bro. Like, he's bigger. I think the one thing between him and Weber is, and I love Weber, it's Weber is very explosive over long distance, right? Like, but Roigard is quick. Like, he's fast over long distance, but he's quick. Like, and then he's big. So having a big halfback who snipes in the rack and mole is very advantageous, because he knows when he goes into contact, he's not going to be dominated. And that's the one thing he has over almost all his other halfbacks: Weber, Perenara, Aaron Smith. So yeah, Roigard was impressive. Like, he was really good. Like, I have watched him play. I guess because the Hurricanes were not that good, you could not compared to past years, right? Like, their standards were not as great as they had been previous years. Like, you could see he's a different animal when he's around players who, like, the All Black setup, yeah, because the All Black setup is different. Like, it's something special. When you're playing for the national team, you're playing with the best in your country, right? So the performances also just go a notch higher. So yeah, Roigard for me today, I think he has justified over the past maybe 3 or 4 games that he has played. He has justified being selected in the squad, and for him to get 2 tries on his first start, like, that was really good. I think the only bad thing that New Zealand can take from this is the yellow card to Ethan de Groot, which was then upgraded to a red card. That's going to be. I'm sure they're going to appeal it and all that stuff. But yeah. And then Damien McKenzie also, and Leicester Fainga Nuku, 2 people who were in our fantasy team. Obviously, McKenzie had converted 8 out of 11 conversions, 26 points total. Leicester had 4 offloads, most in the game, and 10 meters carried, or rather 10 carries across the gain line, and ended up giving us 84 points in our fantasy, which is insane. And D-Mark gave us 100 points. So yeah, I think all in all, a good run out for the All Blacks. For Namibia, really sad that the injury to Leroux Malan actually happened. And the thing is about this World Cup is if you finish third in your group, you qualify for the next World Cup. So all efforts need to go into Uruguay, especially after how Uruguay took France to the end. Not really to the end, but up to like the last 10 minutes. It was still a 2-score game, you know. So Namibia need to beat Uruguay, and they need a big effort. The next game is France, so maybe that's going to be tough for them. But if they could get a win against Uruguay, I think they'll have a shout of getting that. Actually, no, Italy's in that group as well. Never mind. But yeah, Namibia need a result. They really need a result. So yeah, that's been that. New Zealand beat Namibia 71-3 in game 2 of both teams at the Rugby World Cup.